Morning everyone and welcome to our live telecast of the European Cup Winners' Cup final, coming to you from Basel in Switzerland. The game between the current Italian champions Juventus and they're playing Porto of Portugal. Just a bit about the tournament itself. It is in fact a knockout competition featuring all the FA Cup winners from the various European countries. And of course, keeping in mind we'll be fortunate here in South Australia, we'll have the pleasure of seeing the current Italian champions Juventus at Football Park on June the 12th when they do in fact play Australia. Of course, the two players to watch for so far as Juventus are concerned are Platini and also Paolo Rossi, the man who almost won the World Cup final back in 1982 for Italy single-handedly. A fantastic soccer player he is. And we do thank sincerely the O28 network for enabling us to bring this program to you. Let's now take you to Basel in Switzerland for the final of the European Cup Winners' Cup.
Of the 24th European Cup Winners' Cup final from Basel in Switzerland. Welcome to regular viewers of O28 and welcome to viewers in Perth, Adelaide, Hobart and Launceston who have joined us especially for this telecast. Indeed, viewers in Brisbane as well. 23 years ago on this very day, Italy's Fiorentina beat Glasgow Rangers of Scotland in the first leg of the first home and away final of the Cup Winners' Cup. They won the second leg as well to become the first Italian side to lift a major European trophy. And today, an even more illustrious Italian club, Juventus of Turin, will try to win their first Cup Winners' Cup and, remarkably, only their second ever European trophy. Well, regular viewers of O28 will, of course, know Juventus well enough. But what about Porto? They're somewhat surprising opponents from Portugal. Well, we know they are historically about the third best club side in Portugal. We know Tommy Docherty once coached them. And we know last season's top European goalscorer, Fernando Gomez, also plays for them. And of course, we know they have never been in a European final. And to get to this one, they had to eliminate the cup holders. So they are in the final against Juventus, who of course got there by eliminating Manchester United in a most memorable second leg we saw here 4 weeks ago. With us on that morning were Rale Rasic and Tony Palumbo, and it's good morning again to Rale. And Tony has just popped out of the studio, Rale, because he's getting some news directly from Basel. But let's have your views of this all-Latin final, Rale.
It's, you know, the difference between the last game that we've seen, Manchester United versus Juventus, it's two contrasts, two different styles. This time I presume would be just the same type of football, played sort of mainly, probably just in a manner, cautious manner, which is only one match that you have nothing to win, to lose. That's it, you know. There is no way in the world that either team can take chances. I would expect Porto, who probably traditionally hasn't got that recognition throughout the world as much as Juventus, be sort of very tough opposition. If you look through their record in past, analyzing scoring and their defensive record is absolutely incredible. And this is probably the viewers don't know sufficiently about this defensive record of this team. Also Gomez, who is a golden boot from last year, and last match in a league competition 8-0, which proved the point that they can score the goals also. One very important factor in this match is psychological factor. What Porto has to lose? Nothing. Juventus has to lose everything. Well,
Porto do have to lose the opportunity of winning their first ever European trophy. This is their first final.
Yeah, but once you compare giants of world football, one of the richest clubs and 6 full-time, full internationals of Italian A team, then really Porto has nothing much to lose. I mean, psychologically, Porto will get into the game, win, lose or draw, so what? Right? but Juventus can't. Juventus winning is only the thing that will really matter and will be sort of speaking for itself.
Well, where do you see the big difference between Juventus's task here and their task against Manchester United, which was the British opponent in the semi-final, which they overcame so well in the second leg in Turin?
Firstly, I'm certain that Porto will not take the field without libero. And Manchester played without libero, and Manchester was very much exposed, especially in the first half, and Juventus could have led by 4 goals into first 45 minutes. I don't think so that Porto will allow that to happen. Also, I think that Porto's defense, which is playing for the Portuguese national team too, is a well-composed defense and playing all the time together, and their defensive record is extraordinary. So I expect them really to rely on that defense and Gomez on a break.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Rale. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more from the Cup Winners' Cup final in a moment.
7:30 Sunday, the NSL Match of the Day features the clash between the top 2 Sydney teams, St George and Sydney City. Can champions St George, after all their problems in recent weeks, continue the form they regained last weekend? And from the Connor Reserve, the match between Preston and West Adelaide. Will West Adelaide, the surprise of the season, keep up the good form from their young experimental team? Brought to you by Les Murray, the NSL Match of the Day, 7:30 Sunday, Network 028.
Cosmos have the electrical furniture world for you. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Call in and see for yourself the great range of Rankarina electrical goods, as well as many other top brand names. Browse around 2 floors of furniture, including dining and bedroom suites, cupboards, lounge suites and sideboards.
Cosmos, yeah, 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 yeah. A world of ideas for you.
If you're thinking of traveling internationally, there's one company you've got to see, Concord Travel. They call themselves the price leaders. Morris, is that true? Are you one of the price leaders?
That's correct, Bob. What would you say if I can offer the viewers $1,650 return from Adelaide through to London and or Europe?
Right, $1,650 now, because now is the good time to be traveling in Europe.
That's again correct, Bob. Now is the peak season for Europe for May, June and July. That is why we are called the price leaders. $1,650 return from Adelaide.
It sounds like a fantastic deal. You have something else as far as Asia?
With the stopovers, Bob, you are allowed to stop over either on the way or back from Europe. We can offer Singapore $25 per person per night, staying at first-class hotels, including transfers and full breakfast.
Oh, fantastic. So if you're going to travel internationally, you've got to call Concord Travel. The price leaders at 32 Curry Street, 212-5408. If you're planning to be your own home builder, if you're like me, you're going to need lots of help, because I am absolutely hopeless. But there are 2 people here that can help you from Bianco Building Hardware in Newton. Mauro, look, I'd be hopeless in wanting to build my own place, but I do want to. I know there are a lot of people that are planning to do their own homes. What can you do to help them?
Well, the best thing to do firstly is to bring in your plans. We'll certainly look at them, give you a quotation on all your materials, and put you onto the right trade to do so.
Great. Because I know there's a lot of people want to build their homes, but it's very difficult. There's a lot of questions. Robert, you have a lot of builder's supplies. What do you carry?
Well, we carry a vast range of tradesmen's tools. Also, we carry a vast range of hiring equipment, which is necessary in the trade, and generally all supplies necessary for the building industry.
Oh, that's great. So when you need help with all of your building supplies or building needs, the place to go is Bianco Hardware, 178 Gorge Road in Newton.
Welcome back, and Tony Palumbo is with us now, hot off the presses from Basel. What's the latest?
Well, the latest is that maybe Gentile won't be playing because he's got the flu. If he doesn't play, Caricola will be playing in his place. Otherwise, Juventus would have been playing with the same lineup as they played against Manchester United.
Which means
so
Vignola?
It would be Tacconi, yes, it means Vignola as well. It means Tacconi, Gentile, Cabrini, or Caricola replacing Gentile, Bonini, Brio, Scirea, Vignola, Tardelli, Rossi, Platini, Boniek. The Porto lineup is Zebeto, Joao Pinto, Eurico, Eduardo Luis, Lima Pereira, Jaime Magalhães, Sousa, Jaime Pacheco, Frasco, Gomez and Vermelhinho.
Which means that the Irish striker Mickey Walsh is on the bench.
He's on the bench, yes. And Vermelhinho, he scored the winning goal against Aberdeen, of course, and he will be on the left wing.
So what do you think Trapattoni's motivation is behind the lineup? The fact that Vignola is in, Prandelli is out, Penzo still out.
Well, Trapattoni has always got these three options. Either he plays Penzo, who is forward, or Prandelli, who is a defensive midfielder, or Vignola, who is an attacking midfielder. Obviously, he went for Vignola. He wasn't game enough to play Penzo. He didn't want to push forward too much. But obviously, it's a match that must be won, and so playing Prandelli from the beginning would have been obviously a mistake. Prandelli might come in later because I'm not so sure that Tardelli will finish the match. He was injured against Manchester United and he was replaced last Sunday in the last championship match. One thing about Trapattoni, he was in the winning AC Milan team, the team that won the UEFA Cup in 1968. So he should know everything about the Cup Winners' Cup, sorry, in 1968.
Almost everything. Rale, you were saying about you would certainly play against Juventus with a libero, but what about Juventus, who now face a man in Fernando Gomez in Porto, who scored 50 goals last season and the top goal scorer in Europe?
Juventus is used to this. Juventus always has specialist marker, and that marker will probably not give Gomez 1 inch of space. And
one problem, could be that the marker was supposed to be Gentile, obviously. Now, if Gentile doesn't play, it remains to be seen whether Caricola will take over on Gomez.
Yeah, but Gomez will be definitely marked because that's the type of football that Italian team would play. And most of European teams pick up usually most dangerous either playmaker or the forward, especially forward, that must be picked up. Definitely.
It's a man-to-man marking system, very much so, in Italy. Now, is there much difference to the way they play in Portugal, systems-wise?
Well, of course, in Portugal they play the zone, most teams, and Porto is one of them. One problem for Juventus might come, I feel, from the offside trap, which Porto are very experienced in playing. One thing about Gomez, though, he was Golden Boot in 1982-83, but this year, as you would of course know, he didn't perform as well as he did. And also I feel that we just said that in Portugal they play the zone. Maybe he's not used to the tight marking of the Juventus defense. Anyway, it's a fairly balanced match, I suppose.
But also Juventus having only one front runner permanent, that's Rossi. Boniek, Platini coming from behind all the time. That's one of the very dangerous aspects of beating offside trap. You know, if you have 3 or 4 front runners, then really you have to make commitment, running out, running in. But at this time, I'm sure that Boniek or Platini will be too clever to take the ball, and off we go on their own.
I think you'll both agree that it's very much looks like Juventus's game.
Really, so obviously it's not the Gentile we have seen in the World Cup, but the whole defense really looks fairly shaky.
Yeah, and what that incident, I think, exemplified for me was the fact that Gentile didn't appear to have too much confidence in his goalkeeper. Do you think that's a factor in Juventus now that Zoff is not there?
No, I don't think so. I think Tacconi has established himself as a fairly good first-choice goalkeeper. Don't forget that the Juventus second-choice goalkeeper, Bodini, when Zoff retired at the end of last season, he had excellent games in matches for the Italian Cup. Yet Tacconi was given the nod. And I think he fitted fairly well in the Juventus team. If you think that, like Vignola, he was signed from Avellino at the beginning of this season, and of course Avellino is a completely different kind of team to Juventus. I think he's simply having a bad night, and so is his Portuguese colleague, I think.
That's right. Paolo Rossi, of course, had a fairly quiet first half, as indeed was the case when Juventus played Manchester United. But he did have a good chance, which was made by Michel Platini in the 23rd minute of the first half. Yes, good run by Michel Platini. The ball really was deflected away to Rossi, who seemed to be surprised by it a bit.
He didn't have enough room, admittedly, because he's coming from the right. Defender is in front of him, and only left foot. What he did, it really was the best. You know, if you are teaching football, you would say he should lean over the ball, and it would be goal if he did, or good shot, or good save. But he did best that he could. But Platini's determination in this situation now, tight marking 1, 2, 3, 4 players, and he still gets away for that magic pass. That's incredible when he does that final pass. And final pass in the when Platini does, it's a goal.
How did you assess Rossi's performance in that first half? Because he seemed to be moving around a bit more than he did.
As usual, you know, Rossi, when he is really in a game, he's never much in a game. He's just opportunist and comes like he just snipped into this situation seconds ago. It's just a game that he plays.
I think it's a tendency we have in Australia to criticize the player who doesn't chase. But, you know, a player like Rossi, a player like Platini, they are not supposed to chase. They are there to do a completely different job. Let's Bonini do the chase, you know.
Yes, but there is one characteristic. If you watch over 45 minutes the game, there is no player on opposing half, on his own half. You know, every player is on his own half when the ball is lost. That's extraordinary characteristic from both teams over 45 minutes.
So they are chasing back.
Absolutely. Of course, they fall into zonal defense. They don't have to chase one particular player. But they fall into that defensive setup, and this is where they approach opposition. That's an excellent characteristic from both teams over 45 minutes.
Well, Juventus did fall back a lot, but not enough, it seems, because 5 minutes after that incident, in the 28th minute of the first half, Porto equalised through Sousa. Well, Tony, the goalkeeper didn't look too good, but it is a cruel bounce, isn't it?
Yes, it is a goalkeeper nightmare, the bounce right in front of the goalkeeper. But I think it's quite obvious that Tacconi was at fault there, because he saw the ball leaving Sousa's foot, and he should have saved it.
Yeah, but target also a center of the goal where opposing forward was permitted to shoot. You know, this is 20 meters. Opposing defender forward shouldn't be permitted.
Yes, but the very fact that is 20 meters, he should have saved it.
Sure.
He wasn't covered by anybody already.
Yeah,
he saw Sousa's shot go, and to me,
he can be blamed for allowing bounce. But my saying is this: that in Italian football you don't allow from the center of the goal to shoot from 20 meters.
Well, Juventus came close to regaining the lead 10 minutes after that incident. Nothing much happened in between, when there was a terrible scramble in front of the Porto goal, and it was Zbigniew Boniek who, in fact, missed the opportunity. Well, really all sorts of problems in the Porto goal there.
Bad goalkeeping is causing a bit of excitement in this match. Really,
it opens the game up.
If not, 3 goals are scored with, you know, you could be really critical of both goalkeepers. So they are creating a bit of excitement. 3 goals, and if they perform so well, as normal as you expect, would be 0-0 so far.
You expected Rossi and Gomez to start.
Sure.
And we end up with the goalkeepers being the star attraction, not, I feel, the way they would like to be.
Now, if you were tempted to blame Zbigniew Boniek for missing that one, he certainly redeemed himself just 2 minutes later when Juventus took the lead once again. So 2-1, Juventus were ahead quickly, Rale. Before we go back, the task ahead for both teams in the second half.
Hopefully Juventus defense.
So Juventus cap off the championship win at home with their first European trophy since 1977. Tony, La Vecchia Signora.